This week's video is sponsored by Case. Capture with confidence.
Well, hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we've left Ian and Henry now and we've headed across to the Isle of Skye. So Adam and I here for a couple of days, and it hasn't got off to the best. As we stopped earlier on, I tried to start the van again and it wouldn't start, so I think actually the starter motor has gone, so I've had to park it back on a hill up there, and so I can actually get going again. It's not going to be ideal tonight because I'm going to have to camp somewhere, so I'm going to have to park somewhere on a slight slope just so I can get it to go. But hopefully we're going to get some decent weather conditions today. So I've actually come back to a place we visited, it must be 3 or 4 years ago now, which is Elgol, and obviously a really popular location. So with that in mind, obviously visiting a popular location, what I want to do is not take the same old shots that I took before or that everybody else takes, as well as to find something unique and try and really work on the area to see what I can come up with to make it a more personal image to me. So hopefully we should get something, because the light and conditions, we're getting lots of storms blowing through, so hopefully we're going to get some really nice conditions. So how do we actually achieve this? And this is the $5 million question really. We've seen these images, we've seen the videos from these locations, and you've already got those fixated in your mind. You've seen different elements, such as the rock that everybody shoots, such as the honeycomb rocks over in this direction here. So how do you actually make this your own and find an image that's more personal to you? So in my experience, what I'd be looking for is different elements in the scene, elements that haven't been shot before. I'd also be looking for other locations. So what I mean by that is everybody seems to shoot from the same areas, and this goes not just for this location, by the way, this goes for everywhere. Go for different perspectives, go for different elevations, go for a completely different viewpoint. Have a walk a bit further afield, maybe along the coastline a bit more. Find something that's more unique. Don't just rely on what's already there. So the first thing I've actually seen is these rocks here, which are just behind me. You can just see them coming through there with the waves splashing over the tops of them. Not photographed these at all before, but as you can see, behind that we've got this massive storm blowing in. So I think I've grabbed a couple of shots, but I think I'm going to have to come back to it because I'm going to get pounded any minute now. So I've had to pack everything up really quick. We'll move out of the way and then come back to it, but I think there's definitely a shot here that I've certainly never taken before. Obviously other people may have shot this before, but it's about taking a photograph that's a different perspective than you've seen before, so it's more personal to you. So for me, I'm going to come back to this for sure. So I've moved away from the water now just so you can kind of hear me. It's pretty loud down there, and as you can see, the tide is now coming in as well. Hopefully you could see what I was attempting to do with that last shot, and that is use the amount of atmosphere over the mountains back there as the backdrop, and then use the rocks down here and the water for the motion. I put on a 6-stop case filter for that, just to slow my shutter speed down to about a second somewhere around there, and that kind of helped me retain that detail and motion that I wanted to create in the lower section of the scene. And I think that's a lot different to the images that I took here last time. I focused more on the boulder around the corner here, and also the honeycomb rocks there as well. And I also used sea thrift last time I was here, but obviously that isn't quite out yet. But yeah, I just wanted to find that different element, and that was a really good start, I think. So guys, after a bit of wandering around, I've found another shot now as this sun's getting lower in the sky. Off in a distance there's a cottage, and it's nicely framed in between. There's kind of like almost a U-shaped rock. Part of it goes right down so you can see the sea below, and then obviously you've got the sea in front of it, and then the mountains behind, which are really, really dark. So it's working really well. The only thing that I would have liked here is a little more light on the actual house itself rather than on the foreground part, because what you're getting is light on the actual, it's like a spit of land sticking out, and you're getting light on that but not on the actual cottage behind. It sets it off really quite well, but again I'm just using a filter this time to slow the shutter right down to about a 10-second exposure, something like that, to smooth the water out, to simplify it and draw the viewer's eye right through the frame, right back to that cottage in the background there. It's one of those shots I think works really, really well. Simple, and that's basically how I want it really. No distractions at all, just a nice simple shot. So at the minute I'm at ISO 100, f16 and a 10-second exposure, and I've got a 6-stop filter with a built-in polarizer case filter that I'm just spinning just to take the glare off the water ever so slightly. And yeah, simple shot, and here it is now. So guys, as you can see, the light is kind of fading now, but I think it's the sun's just dipping down below the horizon over there. Potentially we could still get something, but I'm a bit concerned all this cloud that's coming over the mountain tops there are going to snuff it out, to be honest. But I have grabbed a couple of shots just before that light faded. I couldn't record it because it was just happening really, really fast, so I'll pop those shots up next. But again, those are completely different to what I've shot here before. Just trialing something else, going right down beside the rocks down there, and again using the water as that lovely texture. But I've also managed to grab a couple of handheld shots of the fishing boats out here as it was coming in as well, and also some handheld shots of just the weather patterns moving through. So just trying different sort of approaches to this scene, trying different focal lengths, for example, handheld, on the tripod, just whatever I can do to make it work. Also just trying a bit of reactive photography, reacting to whatever happens at the time. But I think I'm going to hang around a little bit longer, see if this light kicks off and see if it illuminates the clouds. It might just be handheld now, I don't know. So scratch that. That was actually the end of it. As you can see, the light did fade out and there's absolutely nothing going on there. And another rainstorm on the way through, I would say. Well, it's kind of like sleet, something like that. So gonna hang around here because we haven't got much of a choice because the van's broken anyway. See what happens in the morning and hopefully get something more in. I'd really like to get up on the top somehow and try and get a different perspective. So we'll see how that goes in the morning. Well, good morning. It's just after 6 AM and we're just heading down the hill towards the beach again to see what we're going to get this morning. It's a lot calmer, there's very little wind, so hopefully we're going to get something else. Yeah, hopefully some light as well, because we've got some pink clouds off in the distance over there. And then over towards the mountains, there's clouds above the mountains again, but not colour yet, so still time to get down there and get something set up, I think. So down here again, I've come down to this same sort of area I was working in yesterday, but instead of, because the tide's been up over here overnight, all of these rocks are nice and black, so I'm actually using that as a foreground this morning, so I've got a little bit of contrast between that and the water. And the water, as it's coming in, it's not quite as rough as it was yesterday, but it's still got texture and detail, so I'm just using a filter again just to give that little bit of motion and a bit more dynamics in the image. We've now got some beautiful light on top of the mountains as well back there, so yeah, I think it's going to work out really well. I think the sun's quite late in coming up this morning because I think it's been blocked out because of the clouds behind us here, so yeah, it's worked out well for us. So I'm just going to keep taking shots here because obviously every time you take a shot it's going to be slightly different, and I want to have a load of shots that I can go through and make sure I'm getting the best out of it possible. Just using a remote trigger so that I can time the waves right, because usually you've got a 2-second timer. It's really difficult to time those waves as it comes in, and you end up missing all that detail that you wanted in the first place. So again, slightly different shot, not one that I've ever taken before, and that's what it's all about for me, is returning to a location and getting different shots. Yeah, you could repeat the same shots as you got before, and there's nothing wrong with that because you know what to look for, but certainly looking for different places, different elements that are going to work better for you as an image is definitely worthwhile. So actually, as I'm standing here looking at the scene, I can just see these rocks that kind of curve round and lead out towards the Cooling mountain range. So I think what I'm going to do is get down into this area somewhere around here, but not too close because the tide's still coming in, so I can try and use those rocks as a nice leading element. So what I'm actually finding is, if you see those rocks there, if I move you across, watch what happens. You start to lose that nice curve round and into the hills because you're adding other elements in, like the rocks behind it. So I think the way I'm looking at it, I was getting the best angle from being a little bit further across, so that you can put that in the bottom right hand corner to lead you back in round here like that, and just kind of see what, if I just keep my, show you the back of the camera there. So I'm using it down in this bottom corner to kind of lead the eye right the way, curve round and in. The only thing I don't like about that is the fact you've got so much blue sky above. So ideally, I think what I'm going to try now that I've got that shot done is maybe a slower shutter speed and doing more of a pano crop to eliminate the blue sky from the top of the frame, and to eliminate the foreground as well, and just give me the water and the mountains, just to make it simpler, I think. So guys, finally found a way up onto the top of these cliffs here. I was going to walk along the beach, but I thought there must be a path somewhere, so I managed to get some Wi-Fi and found the map. Or at least Adam got the map up and we could see a path or some sort of access along here. So Yeah, so I've come up for a real walk. It was a tough old grind because it's right up this steep road, but I think it's going to be well worth it because the views up here are absolutely stunning. And you can see now, if I spin you around here, you can see that cloud is starting to build behind the Coolins there, so I think it's going to look pretty nice later. So I want to get around this corner, see what kind of views I've got, see if I can get a different perspective on this place. So guys, this is the whole reason why I wanted to come up here, because I just wanted to get completely different views. Because when you go to a location and you've seen images taken before, it's very restrictive, I find. Yes, you can find other elements that can work, and I did earlier on, but obviously when you get to a different vantage point, get some elevation or go lower down, for example, go further along from where all these popular shots are taken, you will find something that works better for you. And you can just see over this way now, if I point through there, you see that light that's coming through between the Coolin ranges over there, and that's fantastic. It's the kind of image that really draws me in, that sort of ethereal, moody, mystic sort of image. So I'm just going to capture this now using the sea from up here, where before I was using it for texture. This time all I'm doing is I want to retain a bit of the sheen that's on the top of the sea here, and then focusing on that light that's hitting the peaks there. So I'm going to get to the back of the camera and grab a couple of shots before this light disappears. Well, hopefully you can see the advantages of looking for different things to shoot in popular locations. Absolutely nothing wrong with taking the same shots as everybody else, but if you can move around, change your elevation, change your height of your tripod, for example, change your focal length, look for different elements, all of these things are going to help you find images that are more personal to you and you enjoy more. So hopefully you've enjoyed this week's video, guys. Like and subscribe if you have, and I'll see you in the next video soon. Take care. Bye-bye.